Right, for the fun of it, I wanted to try the Super Tarp in the Flying Diamond pitch. And I've never done one before, so I didn't quite get it how I wanted it first time. So it's not quite a Flying Diamond because I've opened up the second exit here type of thing. So it's sort of an adaptation of a Flying Diamond. I must admit I was finding, and maybe I was doing something wrong, so if I was, then, you know, feel free to tell me. But I was finding that when I just had the pole pegged out here, I was just getting height in sort of this area here. And I wasn't really getting any height back there, and as you can see the back is very, very low over in that corner anyway. So I found by putting out a second pole here, that helped get some height to it. But I have seen Flying Diamonds that have a lot more space inside. So I can only presume that I was doing something wrong. What I might do in a minute is just take that pole out there and then just show you what it looks like, you know, with that. Bearing in mind that these poles are 1.2 meters high or long, so they're quite long poles. I've used a lot of guy line because this is a big tarp. And I've got a lot of guy line attached to it anyway, so I've just used most of what I've got attached to it. I haven't even used it all. So I've always had a lot of guy on this tarp. So this is sort of a trial and error type of thing. I just wanted to, you know, just try a couple of different pitches from the standard A configuration. Just one thing I'll show you quickly on the what would be considered the front and back. Ron has put in these trekking pole loop sort of type of things to poke your trekking pole through. So whether the main idea of this tarp is an A tarp, I'm not sure. And of course, on what would technically speaking be the back, which I suppose here is now the front, there's also one there. But on all the other tying out points, like this one here, and all of them is just a line lock to the straight material to the line lock. Just what I wanted to point out, it's easier on this one, is don't be tempted to do what I tried to do first off earlier, and that's put the top of the pole, or the bottom of the pole, through the material, because that twists it, and you're going to put unnecessary strain on these tying out points here. Just wrap the cord once around, and that holds that securely in place. Right, what I've done now is I've just simply taken the pole out from here and then tightened that up, which has meant I've obviously had to tighten this up here, and as you can see that's reduced the amount of room inside to a point where I think you'd struggle really to get in there. So maybe I have done the Flying Diamond incorrectly. Also, I think another important point of note here, this Cuban tarp is rectangular. It's I think 10.5 feet by 8.5 feet. So maybe to get a proper Flying Diamond, maybe you need a completely square yeah, maybe you need a completely square tarp to do it. And maybe sil nylon would be better for doing it. I don't know. But just going by this, and as I say, bearing in mind this is a 1.2 metre pole, I can't quite get a flying diamond with this. So if there's any, you know, pointers or anything like that, then give me a holler and I'll try it again. Right, I've tried a slightly different pitch this time. I've put a pole. This is now technically speaking the side, because that's where the front is and that's where the back is, theoretically speaking. But that's the long panel, that's the 10.5 feet, this is the 8.5 feet this way. So I've wanted to try and get room lengthwise, so that's why I've sort of called this the front here. You'll have to slightly ignore that flapping in the wind. Obviously once you've got a mat on that, once you've got something heavy on it, like a body, then and you've got a reasonable amount of headroom just here. I must admit, headroom isn't bad, you know, for this type of thing. Obviously in this pitch, hello, it's obviously in this pitch it's you know, it's a little breezier, but you would certainly be very well protected from any rain elements down here anyway. That's obviously another type of pitch that you could do. And again, I haven't used every single guying out point. Right, all I've done now is I'll just show you around the back. I've loosened off this point here, and in loosening that off I've tightened off the two corners. That's made the back lower. I've then tightened it up a little just to get some, so you've got some air going underneath. And I've then put cords on this point here and this point here to get these tight. And then I haven't really touched the front at all, so I've got that tight there. And now everything inside is much closer to the ground, but with still plenty of air. Again, I've got, oh, I have, you know, I've got some headroom here. That's not bad at all. With my head, oops, I can move my head around, you know, perfectly well there. And I'm, you know, completely open at the front. And then obviously a ton of storage space back there. This spot is officially a two-person tent. Well, tarp. So that's another way that you could pitch it. Okay, this time I've got it pitched in the more conventional figuration, although back to front, this would normally be the back and that would normally be the front, but this is just the way that you know, it's been lying on the ground, so that's, I just pitched it that way. And so I don't have this tarp in sil nylon. Well, not yet anyway. Not yet anyway, but I might be tempted next year. It'd be quite interesting to compare the, you know, the two, to be honest, but we'll save that for save that for next year now. We'll worry about that at the moment. But yeah, so this sort of more the A-frame pitch. I've tried to get the back sort of low, and that's the inside. Again, don't worry too much about the ground sheet flapping and being raised a bit, because I've just got it tied off to these points here, which of course just raises the whole thing up, and that one over there. So obviously once you've got weight on it, then that will get lower. And you'll notice this cord here is longer than that cord there. Again, this is just rough and ready for here. If I was pitching this properly, I would get another longer piece of cord like this and put it over there, just to get the back a little bit further away from the back. So that's really only to give you, you know, a rough idea. And I've pegged the front out, you know, again, just to hold it in place. Again, once you have a mat on here and a sleeping bag, then you'll be fine. I didn't think we'd be showing my legs off again this year, to be honest. It's very warm today. So as you can see, I've got with this plenty of wiggle room. Feet are nowhere near the top of the tarp. Again, as you can see, the longer bungee cord is far better than the short piece, so that would need rectifying. And just here, I've got, you know, plenty of sitting up headroom. I can just about sit up. If I face that way, then I've got plenty of headroom there. So that gives you loads of coverage on the sides. And again, you could get two under here easily. I've just gone down the middle, but you could move this over. And in fact, this is the first pitch that I've done on this section of playing around with this, where, you know, you could comfortably get two side by side under that. Now, a little bit more playing around with this, I think. Once it's wrapped up, as you can see, there's plenty of room in this pouch, so you could get it a little bit smaller, but that's sort of a 14 ounce or 400 ml Nalgene bottle. That's a 3/4 of a litre sort of flask type thing, so you can see it's packs down. I mean, it's certainly bigger than those, but it's still pretty, for the size of tarp that it is a double of course, it still packs down pretty compactly.